Hello everyone, this is Logan59XP here for another episode of the Nin-Cast here on November 20th of 2021, and today marks our first news recap, news roundup type video for the season. I did a couple of these last season, haven't done one for this season yet, but considering that there are a couple of things I want to talk about but don't really warrant their own episode of Nin-Cast on their own, I figured, hey, let's go ahead and do another one of these. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So our first topic of the day is... what am I, John Campia? But anyways, our first topic of the day is, of course, the recent Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Of course, Spider-Man No Way Home is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most anticipated probably anything, period, right now. Not even just movies, just even within the realm of gaming and TV shows and stuff, like period. In terms of entertainment right now, No Way Home is the next Endgame. And everyone's been saying that, right? Oh, Spider-Man, Spider-Man No Way Home, it's gonna be the next Endgame. And it is. It doesn't have the same build-up as Endgame did, but it effectively is the next Endgame, and of course, we're all really looking forward to it. It is easily the most anticipated MCU thing of the year, that's for sure. Never mind, obviously, and again, it applies to everything else too, but you guys already knew that. You guys already know how anticipated this movie is. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. One look on Twitter or Reddit or YouTube or anywhere will tell you that people are hyped as hell for this movie, because this movie isn't just a Spider-Man movie. This is a Spider-Man Spider-Verse this is live-action Spider-Verse. That's why it's so big a deal. I mean, yes, a new Spider-Man movie would generate hype, absolutely, but a Spider-Verse movie, well, effectively a Spider-Verse movie in all but name anyway, you bet your ass people are going to be excited for that. And we finally got our second trailer the other day, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So the second trailer, now first things first, I went into the second trailer not really expecting us to get the thing everyone wanted, which of course was to see the two other Spider-Men. I basically went in thinking, they're probably not going to show them. Maybe they will, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to save them for the movie. And, of course, I ended up being correct on that. No Toby or Andrew, unfortunately. But at the same time, I kind of am on the side of the people that are like, no, save it for the movie, man. Save it for the movie. I'm kind of, like, as much as we all want to see them, being able to experience them in the theater first, I think, is an experience that I think, in the end, people will agree was the right move. But at the same time, like John Campia said, if they did show Toby and Andrew in this trailer, they would have sold all the tickets. Not most of the tickets, not a majority of the tickets, not a good amount of tickets. They would have sold all the tickets. All of them. And I 100% agree. If they showed, even if they didn't show them, even if they just had like a shadow or something, or just a voice line without actually showing anything, if they made it clear one way or another that they were 100% confirmed, I agree with John Campia. Sony would have sold all the tickets. All the tickets. I mean, it's already going to sell all the tickets, but it's going to sell even more all the tickets if they showed them. But they didn't. And while it was a little disappointing, and to some people really disappointing if they were really hoping for it, but honestly, I don't really mind it that much, because it's not even really a surprise. Is it really a surprise? No, it isn't. Maybe to Sony it's a surprise, but like obviously that's the number one thing about this movie people care about. Like in a way, I kind of feel bad for Tom Holland by saying this, but he really is kind of getting sidelined in his own movie. Like, maybe not in terms of screen time. He's still going to be the main Spider-Man of this movie, of course. But it definitely doesn't feel like he's the main one with how much people don't really talk about it. Everyone just cares about, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Sandman, Lizard, and Toby and Andrew. Like, that's the only thing anyone cares about in this movie. And Tom is completely sidelined. And I kind of feel bad for him in a way. But obviously, he'll get his fair share. Of course, the movie's going to start with him, on the run and everything. But yeah, the second trailer, though. What I think about the second trailer, even without Toby and Andrew, it was pretty solid. It was pretty good. Obviously, it's not quite as hype as the first trailer, because the first trailer ended on the "Hello, Peter." I mean, it's kind of hard to top that. Well, they could have topped that if they had Toby and Andrew, but so it's kind of hard to top the "Hello, Peter." But But it still was pretty good. We got to see, we basically now have confirmation officially of all the villains. Of course, we knew about Green Goblin. We knew about Doc Ock and all of that kind of stuff. But now we know about the Lizard and Sandman are 100% confirmed. We see them. We get to see the new Electro, who, of course, is yellow this time around and not blue. And he looks pretty good, so that's pretty sweet. Then again, pretty much anything they did with Electro in this movie was going to look better than he did in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But everyone agrees he looks a lot better, so yeah, it's pretty cool. The villains obviously look cool. We get to see that. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on. We get that scene with, MJ or Michelle Jones or whatever. It's still MJ. We see that scene of MJ, falling off the Statue of Liberty. Oh yeah, the Statue of Liberty, by the way. Oh yeah, okay. You want to know the number one thing that this entire trailer did? It was 100%, without a doubt, confirming basically everything we've heard so far. All the villains we've heard up until this point, confirmed. The Statue of Liberty, confirmed. Someone most likely dying. It wasn't confirmed, but it was implied that someone was gonna die. That's a part of the rumors, is that someone's gonna die. Maybe MJ, maybe Aunt May, maybe Happy. Of course, there's that scene from the first trailer where he's trapped in his car, and there's a bunch of there's a SWAT team and stuff. So who knows, But yeah, this movie's definitely shaping up to be something, right? Absolutely. Now, the tickets don't go on sale just yet. Now, a lot of people thought they were going to have the tickets go on sale after the second trailer. But they know. Actually, the tickets are going to go on sale on, I believe, the 29th. And actually, a lot of people are guessing that we might actually get a third trailer on the 29th to go alongside the tickets being on sale. And that maybe that will be the trailer that officially reveals Tobey and Andrew in some form. But, of course, we'll have to wait and see. I feel like at this point, they're just gonna save them for the movie, but if we get them in the third trailer, that's cool too. We all know they're in the movie. Everyone knows they're in the movie. Everyone, literally everyone out there that knows a single thing about this movie knows they're in the movie. In the trailer, right? In the trailer, when we get that big shot of of Tom, then we get Electro, the Lizard, and Sandman. We see the railing from those from the Andrew in 4K and stuff like that, and it all lines up perfectly. So and of course, as everyone's talked about, in the Brazilian trailer, the Lizard gets punched by someone, but we don't see it. It's they're in the movie. I've said this in the past on streams and stuff, but I'll say it again. If at this point you still don't think they're in the movie, you're insane. I'm sorry, you're insane. At this stage in the game, there is absolutely no way in hell they're not in the movie. No way in hell they're not in the movie. There's just no way. It's all lining up perfectly. No way. No way in hell they're not in this thing. Now, also, as I've said in the past, though, the real question is not, are they in this movie? Because the answer to that is 100% yes. The real question is, how long will they be in it? Because early on, we kind of all assumed that they were going to be in the movie more than they are now. But now I think most people have just kind of accepted that they're going to be there for the big third act battle on the Statue of Liberty, and that's going to be basically it. And that'll still be cool, of course, but it may not be quite as long as people would like. Because obviously the big thing people want to see is, not only do they want to see, of course, all three of them fight, but they also want to see them interact. A lot of people have talked about, they gotta do a conversation about the web shooters and stuff like that. And of course, in the Andrew caught in 8K, 4K, 12K thing, people have read the lips, and it has something to do with spider blood or web blood or something like that. So people are see, they are gonna do the conversation because, of course, Tobey's Spider-Man has natural webs, whereas Andrew and Tom have mechanical webs that they made, that whole thing. People just really want to see them interact, of course. Now, even though we didn't get Tobey or Andrew confirmed in this trailer, there were a couple of things that maybe implied it. Now, the first one is the most obvious. For example, there's a scene where, Doc Ock on the bridge, and he's like, "You're not Peter Parker." That's obviously a direct reference to Tobey from his universe. And then there's this scene at the very end where Doctor Strange is like, "Oh, they're all coming through. I can't stop them." And a lot of people have interpreted that, including me, as This is the thing that happens before, because this is on the Statue of Liberty, so this is after all of the villains have come in. So this can't be more. I mean, maybe there's more villains, and I know even John Campion was like, "Oh, just imagine if we get like freaking Charles Xavier and Patrick Stewart, we get Wesley Snipes, Blade." I don't buy into any of that. Look, I like you, John Campia, I really do. I don't buy into any of that. Now, to be fair, he never said that he thinks it's gonna happen. He just said that it's a possibility, and I mean, yeah, it's technically a possibility, but the chances of us getting something like that is so ridiculous. There's so much happening in this movie already. We already have Tom, Andrew, Toby, the Sinister Six, or I'm sorry, the Sinister Five, because it's not actually six unless we get a surprise thing we don't know about. The Sinister Five. Like, we already have all this stuff going on. They're not going to throw in Charles Xavier. They're not going to throw in friggin' Wesley Snipes. They're not going to throw in any of that. We're not going to get that. Would it be neat? Oh, of course it would. You know, people would flip the hell out. But we're not getting that, and frankly, we don't need that. Toby and Andrew and the other villains are all we need. That's all this movie needs to succeed. And we do not need more. And we're not gonna get more. But yeah, people have been talking about, oh, maybe they, like John Campia is like, oh, maybe that's, X-Men or whatever. And then people have also been like, oh, maybe this is just them bringing in more villains, like maybe Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2 or something. But realistically, maybe it could be that. It could also be, or maybe I'm completely wrong in the whole, oh, this is clearly from after all the villains have come in. So maybe this is where, because obviously Green Goblin and Doc Ock, of course, they show up, on the bridge scene, which is definitely from an earlier part of the movie than the Statue of Liberty fight. The Statue of Liberty fight is most likely the big third act finale. So maybe they're the only two villains that are actually in the movie at that point, and then that Doctor Strange moment at the end is when Sandman and the Lizard and Electro, maybe that's when they come in. Or maybe that'll be when Venom comes in. No, it's not. No, it's not going to be Venom. It's not going to be Venom. I don't think Venom is in this thing, by the way. We all talked about Venom being in this movie potentially because, hey, look, the post-credit scene. Maybe he's in this movie. I don't think so. It doesn't really line up. Like, at least with that, like, because that Doctor Strange moment is obviously, like, probably during the second or third act. And we know that Venom comes into the MCU during, the end of Far From Home / the beginning of this movie, so the timeline wouldn't really line up for that to make any sense. He's not going to be in this movie, at least not properly. I would not be surprised if he's in the post-credit scene. He might be in one of the post-credit scenes, but he's not going to be in the movie itself. As far as the movie itself is concerned, it's going to be Tom, Andrew, and Toby, and then Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Sandman, Lizard, and Electro. That is all I'm expecting as far as the main cast is concerned. And of course, Ned, MJ, Aunt May, and those guys. But in terms of like the main cast, that's all I'm expecting. I'm not expecting Wesley Snipes. I'm not expecting Charles Xavier. I'm not expecting Venom. I'm not expecting any of that. I think that we're not going to get any of that. And if we do get Venom, it'll be in the post-credit scene only. But obviously, we'll see. It'd be really cool. What if we got like Miles? Like, I'm not talking the live action Miles. I'm talking like the Spider-Verse Miles. Like anime. Like they pull a Roger Rabbit and they like have him be like 2D animated with the exact same style he was in that movie, and they just try to make it work somehow. And they Roger Rabbit the hell out of it. They're not gonna do that, but that'd be pretty cool, right? Like we get like we also get like we get all the other, we get Spider-Ham, we get Penny, we get Gwen, we get, like, all the other, like, Spider-Verse characters, and again, they're all animated. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. But imagine, see, I'm sitting here like, X-Men? Yeah, right. Wesley Snipes? Yeah, right. And then I'm like, oh, but Spider-Verse, though. But the reason why that makes more sense to me is because they're literally Spider-Verse characters. They're not the X-Men, they're not Blade, they're Spider-Verse. And Spider-Verse, of course, is a Sony property. I mean, Spider-Man movies in general are, of course, Sony's property. That's the whole reason why we had that 2019 fiasco. But what I mean by that is the Spider-Verse franchise that started in 2018 is 100% Sony's, so having that be involved in this movie makes way more sense than Marvel letting them have Charles Xavier or Marvel letting them have Wesley Snipes, because of course they have their own X-Men and Blade things they're working on. But yeah, I mean, I guess the big takeaway is the trailer was good. Didn't have quite the same like holy shit moment as like the last trailer, of course, but obviously getting people hyped up more. It's a pretty solid trailer. Would have been nice to have Toby and Andrew in it, but I'm also totally fine that they're not in it as well. Because being able to see, because like when we get that moment in the theater where like, you know, the port, like, because like Toby and Andrew coming in is gonna be like the Portals moment of this movie. Toby and Andrew coming in is gonna be the Portals moment of this movie, and once we hear do 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 do, like once the music starts going, and you know for a fact they're gonna put the music in this thing, there is absolutely no way in hell that they have Toby in this movie and they don't play his theme at least once. But you know, when they play that theme, every theater in the world is gonna die when they hear just the freaking, like, okay, so you know how there's One-Winged Angel, right? And how, like, you know, when Sephiroth was announced, you just heard like the first couple of notes and you immediately knew it was Sephiroth. It's gonna be like that, but for Toby. People are gonna hear the do 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 do, and the people are gonna flip the hell out. It's gonna be amazing. I will be absolutely floored if we do not get at least a version of Toby's theme at some point. And also, to a lesser extent, Andrew, like Andrew's theme from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, that should be in there as well. But obviously, Toby's theme is the most iconic one, so that's the one that they would have to get in there the most. We'll probably get that. There's no way we don't, but yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home. Most anticipated movie out there right now. Most anticipated piece of entertainment, period, right now. And you bet your ass I'm going to be seeing that movie as soon as I possibly can. But unfortunately, I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to my friend. Because I go to all these movies with a friend of mine. And he and his like family kind of take care of the tickets. So I'm not sure. Hopefully they'll get hopefully they can jump on the tickets as soon as they come out. Because obviously everyone on the planet is going to be trying to get those tickets. And if we miss out, then that could really screw us over. Because... And okay, we did not get to see Endgame day 1. We had to wait until like day 2 or 3 to see Endgame. And of course, during that whole time, I had to avoid spoilers like you wouldn't believe. It's gonna be that again, but with Spider-Man. Even though we basically know how the movie's gonna go, I don't want anything spoiled that we don't already like. For example, I don't want to know if Toby or Andrew are in it. We all know they're in it. We all know they're in it. But I don't want that spoiled for me. I don't want to see spoilers. Like, I don't want to see, I don't know, comic book cast, or, you know, various other, you know, Marvel channels. I don't want, you know, spoilery thumbnails showing up in my feed, and then it's like, well, okay, well, there's the post-credit scene, there's that. Like, I don't want anything spoiled for me, obviously. So if we can't see it day 1, I'm gonna have to find a way to make sure I don't, like, I can't just not use YouTube, because YouTube is like the number one thing I do. I watch YouTube videos like all day, every day. I can't just avoid YouTube. And unsubscribing from all the Marvel channels temporarily won't fix that problem either, because of course recommended feed and stuff. And the movie is just way too big for me to not get at least one spoiler. I don't know. How am I gonna avoid spoilers for this movie? It's gonna be hard, but obviously we'll see when the time comes. But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, looking great, and like the rest of the world, I absolutely cannot wait to see it. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to our second topic for the day. It's John Campy. Anyways, yeah, let's move on to our second topic, and one that is actually pretty big. Like, on paper, this is like a big deal. Like at first, I don't think it really hit me how big. Like, I knew that this was a big deal when I actually looked at it, but when I first saw it, I was just like, this can't be real. Okay, hold on. I was like, what? This can't be right. I must be seeing things. There's no way, especially right now of all times, that they would actually do this. But clearly, I was proven wrong, and apparently the gods above had decided otherwise, because against all logic, all common sense, all realms of possibility and probability, it's actually happening. Nintendo is partnering with Panda, who of course is very well known for the Smash competitive scene, to work on a official, legit, fully licensed Smash Bros. Circuit. Not just for Ultimate, but for Melee as well. And even if you don't follow the competitive scene that much, and to be fair, I don't really follow it that much. I'm not a competitive player. My brother is, but I'm not a competitive player, so I'm more on the out. I mean, of course, I know certain players, I know certain things, but I'm not like really into that scene. But I know enough to know that this is a big deal, assuming it goes the way people hope it does. And that's the main thing about this. That's the main holdup, is that on paper, this is the thing people have been waiting for years and years and years for. For literally an eternity, people in the competitive scene have wanted official support from Nintendo. They've wanted real support, not just tacking ads on and retweeting stuff on Nintendo, like real, actual support, cash support, real support, something like that. People have wanted that for so long, but of course, ever since of course, traditionally they've never been in great standing with the competitive community, but of course, especially after the Big House fiasco, then the Slippy fiasco, and the Project Plus thing, like after all the stuff they've been doing over the last year or so, that's really shaken their foundation with the competitive community. Any positive whatsoever standing they had with the competitive community died the second the Big House fiasco happened last year. From that point onward, it feels like the competitive community just wants Nintendo to screw off, and I really don't blame them in the slightest. Like, when they're being so aggressive about it, can you really blame people for just wanting Nintendo to screw off? You really can't. You really can't. It's a shame that that's the way things are, but it is how things are, The competitive community has absolutely no reason to want them involved in any shape. Like the competitive community overnight went from wanting Nintendo to be more involved to wanting them to just stay the hell away from us. Like, just please leave us alone. We don't care anymore. Just please leave us alone. Just let us do our thing like we always have. Just screw off. And I don't blame them in the slightest. So it's very interesting that after the Big House, after Main Stage, after all of this stuff where they've been interfering and taking down, preventing, Project Plus and Slippy and all of that. After all of this, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, officially licensed Smash Bros. Circuit, both Ultimate and Melee, and they're partnering with Panda Global, who again is like a big name in the Smash Bros. Competitive scene. So this isn't like their own individual circuit on their own. This is from a actual genuine. This is from a Smash Bros. Competitive mainstay here, Panda Global. So this is a very interesting turn of events where this is a complete 180. This is a complete 180 from what they've been doing over the last year or so, where they've been continuously more and more just pissing off the competitive community. And now it's all of a sudden they've gone the opposite direction. And on paper, this is great. This is what people have wanted. People have wanted this for so long. But of course, the first question that everyone thought to themselves, including me, when I saw this announcement was first, wait, this can't be real. Is this actually what I think it is? And then of course I check, there's the tweet. There's from both Panda Global and Nintendo of America themselves. There's going to be cash prizes, so no golden Switch Pro controllers here that accidentally fall off. No. We're talking cash prizes, at least of some kind. We'll get to that later. And an actual circuit from a well-known, trusted, competitive Smash source. So, hell is frozen over, right? Hell has to have frozen over. There has to be a catch. And that's the thing everyone thought, was there has to be a catch. What's the catch? There's no way, after all of this, that this is exactly what we've been waiting for. There's no way they made that completely 180 of a turn with no strings attached. There has to be something behind this. And there are a couple of theories. The most prevailing theory is that with the popularity, at least at launch, it's kind of waned a little since then, but with the release of course, Nick All-Stars back in October, and the upcoming release of Warner Bros.' Multiverses game, which is going to be free to play, by the way, so that's a big deal, that this is basically Nintendo's way of responding to competition, because up until this point, they've infamously not really had any in this space. Like, it was smash or bust, basically. Yeah, there was Rivals Aether. Yeah, there was Brawlhalla. Yeah, there's others, platform fighters that are like Smash. But none of them have had any real backing behind them. They're mostly just kind of smaller games or indie games and stuff. But Nick All-Stars was their first quote-unquote real competition. I know people kind of debate on how much of a competition it really is, but it was their first on-paper real competition. Backing from a big company, Nickelodeon, having tons of iconic, recognizable characters. It had its flaws, like no voice acting, that turned off the casuals a lot. But the competitive scene was all over Nick All-Stars. When that game was announced and up until release, people were all over it. Like people, like the competitive, the Smash Bros. The Nick All-Stars devs made it crystal clear that they are here for the competitive community and they are going to do everything in their power to support them, and that's pretty awesome. Then the game came out, and people played it for a couple of weeks, and now it's kind of fallen off the face of the planet. Multiverses I do not think is going to be the same way, because Multiverses is free to play. And that on its own guarantees, aside from the fact that unlike Nick All-Stars, it has voice acting, something that they very much rubbed in Nick All-Stars. Yeah, if you watch the Multiverses reveal thing where they had the director of it talk about it, they were very clearly rubbing it in that we had voice acting and Nick All-Stars didn't, because they were like, because they kept having voice clips playing. Then they even were like, and we got all these iconic announcers, all these iconic voice actors, like, Kevin Conroy, Batman the Animated Series, what many consider the best Batman period, is in Multiverses. We have Bugs Bunny, we have we got freaking what's her name? Something like one of the Game of Thrones characters. I never watched Game of Thrones, so apologies. I don't remember her name. I think Arya Stark is her name. They got all these voice actors for the original characters back. Something that Nick All-Stars didn't have, and that was a big problem with it from a casual perspective. Now, apparently they're going to add that in later. At least I think they said they were going to add that in later, but maybe it might be too little too late at that point, especially when Multiverses is, of course, its own, when it's free to play, and Nick All-Stars is like a $40, $50, $60 game. But, and obviously free to play has its own things like, oh boy, that means microtransactions, and we'll see how that goes. But the point is, Nick All-Stars and Multiverses seem to be the main thing people think is the proponent of Nintendo finally, actually, after all these years and all this time and all this requesting and all the controversy of the last year or so, they seem to think that this is why they're coming in, because they see that Multiverses and Nick All-Stars are really popular with the competitive scene, and that they don't want those games taking away the spotlight from Smash. So that's why they're finally getting involved. And you know what? That could totally be a real reason. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's the reason. In fact, that's probably at least part of the reason. But I'm not sure if I think it's the entire reason. I think there's another reason why it's like this. Part of the reason being because of Nick All-Stars and Multiverses. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But here's the other reason why I think they also are doing this. The other reason why I think they're doing this is because now that Smash Ultimate is done, no more DLC, no more, outside of a couple balance patches, no more real updates. The game is done. Smash Ultimate is now officially complete. After 3.5 years of development, it is finally officially completely done. And you know what that means? No more announcements. No more new characters to drive up hype. Which means that they need to find a way to keep attention on Smash some other way, because now they don't have any more characters to announce. So how do you keep Smash Ultimate relevant and is still something people will talk about and care about? How do you do that for the remainder of the Switch's lifespan until the next console comes out and when the next Smash game gets announced? You need a way to maintain interest in Smash for the next couple of years until the next console comes out. And how do you do that if you don't have any more characters or real updates? Supporting the competitive scene. That is how you do it. Is it for the right reasons? Like, are Nintendo doing it for the right reasons? Probably not. But are they doing it? Yes. Is that a good thing? On paper, yes. Now here's, of course, the other thing people are going to talk about. Again, going back to what I said before. How there has to be a catch. There has to be something about this that's not correct. Now, I can tell you what it's not going to be. I've watched the Hungry Box video interview with Coney, and Coney is, of course, a player, a Smash player who's on Panda Global. Esam is also on Panda Global as well. I watched the Hungry Box video with Coney where he talked about it, and he didn't confirm 100%, but he made it pretty clear that there's not going to be any whack rule sets. There's no items, no weird stages, none of that. We're gonna get competitive rules, competitive stages, just like any other Smash tournament, and that really doesn't surprise me because, again, they're partnering with Panda Global for this. If this was Nintendo completely on their own, if this was Nintendo doing a Smash circuit completely on their own, I'd be way more skeptical of the rule set. I would probably be in that same camp of, oh, it's probably gonna have items, it's probably gonna have this. But the fact that it's Panda Global, the second we knew it was Panda Global, I was like, okay, I'm not that worried about it. Because Panda Global wouldn't sign the contract for this thing if it didn't have competitive rules. There is no way in hell Panda Global would have signed on to this partnership if it meant they had to have items on. That's absolutely ridiculous. This is going to have a competitive rule set. I'm not worried about that at all. This will 100% have a competitive rule set with competitive stages and all of that. Not worried about that in the slightest. But like I said before, there has to be a catch, right? And as far as Ultimate is concerned, there's not really going to be any catch. The main catch with Ultimate would have been, again, competitive stages and stuff like that, or competitive rule set. But like I said, we're going to get a competitive rule set because it's Panda Global. And again, they wouldn't partner with Nintendo if it meant they had to do items. That's ridiculous. So that means we're going to get a competitive rule set, competitive stages. We're all good as that's concerned. So for Ultimate, it's pretty much a good thing. Melee, though. Now, I think it's safe to say, the competitive community in general has not been thrilled with Nintendo. But I think it goes without saying that the Melee community is definitely, probably hates them 5 times more than the rest of the scene. Because go back to 2013, right? You know, the whole Evo thing with 2013, and of course, again, Big House, Slippy, it's like, they have absolutely no reason to trust them whatsoever. Zero reason. The Melee community has absolutely zero reason to trust them at all. Now, with that in mind, since they are going to have Melee, and Nintendo's involved, what does that mean for Melee? I think it's not going to be the end of the world, but it is going to be something that people will not be thrilled with, or at least certain people will not be thrilled with. And here's my prediction for what the catch of this entire thing is going to be. Melee has to be played completely bone stock vanilla. No mods, no Slippy, no. Okay, the Slippy part doesn't really matter because they've already said that Melee is going to be in person only, so Slippy wouldn't matter anyway. But nothing, nothing. Completely bone stock. GameCube, Wii, right off the disc. That's how it has to be. And on paper, that's not too big a deal. Until you remember that Melee for the last couple of years has been using a mod in a lot of their tournaments. But it's not a mod that you would ever notice on screen. It's not 20XX, it's not Slippy, it's not any of that. I believe it's called UCF, which I believe stands for Universal Controller Fix. And it's this extremely small, minor mod that you would never notice just by looking at the screen. It's completely under the hood. That improves the way the controllers work, because of course every GameCube controller is different and they're not all built the same or whatever, and apparently UFC is supposed to help a lot with that. So that is going to be the catch. That's what I think the big catch is going to be. And that's going to be no UCF. Because it has to be bone stock, because of course we all know that Nintendo is never ever going to officially endorse in any shape, way, or form whatsoever mods of any kind, no matter how small. So that's what I think the catch is going to be. The catch is going to be no UCF, completely bone stock. Now, Coney doesn't seem to think that will be that big a deal. At least from what I remember in the interview. He said that, yeah, that'd be unfortunate, but like if it means real support, then it's worth it. But of course, that's just Coney's take. I'm sure the actual Melee players themselves will definitely disagree on that one, I'm sure. But I do agree with him in the sense that I don't think it's going to be a game breaker. I don't think not, and this is coming from someone that does not play Melee competitively. I want to make that crystal clear right now. This is purely coming from an outsider point of view. But I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Like, yes, it'll suck. It'd be obviously better to have UFC than not have it. But I think they'll be able to manage. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe there's some other catch that I'm not thinking of here. But that's what I assume the catch is going to be. The main catch is going to be no UCF for Melee. Completely bone stock. Not even the slightest mod. Will that be a game breaker? I don't think it's going to. But it'll definitely be something that people will not be thrilled with. But at the end of the day, they'll probably be able to manage it. And assuming that this all goes well, assuming that there's no, assuming that everything goes well, assuming that this event is what people want it to be, and it's successful, this could be the beginning of, again, what people have wanted for so long, which is proper, official, real support from Nintendo. For both the newest Smash game, which of course right now is Ultimate, and Melee. And if this goes the way people want it to, then this will be the beginning. There's no way it will end right here. If this event does well, from both Nintendo's perspective and from the competitive community's perspective, this will absolutely be the beginning of a new phase of competitive Smash, where we're going to see Nintendo do real sponsorships, where they actually contribute something going forward. And we'll get cash prizes, bigger cash prizes at events. Now, we don't know what the cash prizes are for this event. Maybe the cash prizes will suck, and that'll be the catch that isn't UFC. That'll be the catch. Oh yeah, we have cash prizes, but the cash prizes aren't anything great. Now, here's how I think the cash prizes are going to go. I think the cash prizes are going to be on par with basically what we've had so far. We're not going to get, a Fortnite or a League of Legends, like $1 million. Like, no, they're not going to do that immediately. That's ridiculous. But it'll be reasonable to start with. And maybe as time goes on, it'll start to go up and up. And maybe if we get like an official, like, how we have the Smash World Tour Championships, which is kind of like the new Evo in terms of like how important it is. If Nintendo and Panda ever make like their own like big like Evo level big balls, like this is the big event, maybe then we'll see like some big numbers, like bigger numbers than we've ever seen in Smash history before. But I imagine for this first event, it's going to be more along the lines of what we normally have. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be worse. We'll see. But at least we're getting cash prizes and not a gold. I mean, the gold Pro Controller did look pretty nice, but obviously people would have much preferred an actual cash prize of some kind, not a gold Pro Controller and not my Nintendo points. But yeah, so Nintendo and Panda Circuit in 2022. This could be the moment. This could be the this could be the beginning. Let's just hope that Nintendo and Panda and the competitive community don't screw this up. Because, well, obviously the main focus is Nintendo screwing this up. And that's obviously the big one. It's like we all hope to God that Nintendo does not screw this up. I know Panda won't. Panda's going to do everything in their power to make sure this event is as good as it possibly can be. So they're not going to screw up. And as Nintendo doesn't screw anything up and there's not any big issues, this could be the beginning of something grand for Smash. And of course, we gotta acknowledge the fact that if this event has no big asterisks, if it really is just a regular Smash tournament, pretty much it just happens to have real support behind it, then obviously everyone in the competitive scene, whether it's Ultimate or Melee, needs to understand that you guys can't mess this up either. Competitive Smash's reputation took a nosedive last year when all the sexual allegations went down. And I imagine that at least some part of Nintendo is still kind of hesitant because of that. So, obviously, let's hope that but not only Nintendo and Panda do things well, but that the competitive scene themselves treat this as seriously as it really is. That they know that this is an opportunity they can't screw up. Because if they are the ones that screw this up, this could be the end of any of this, and we just go back to the old school, the community just being completely on its own like usual. But of course, we'll just have to see when this all begins sometime in 2022. And finally, last but not least, I want to talk about something really quick that I have teased in the past, and is something that I have in the works. And that is my next video project. And when I say video project, I mean like big main channel project. You will have noticed that for a while now, I have not uploaded anything. Outside of that one video I put out like a couple weeks ago or whatever, or a month ago, maybe even a month ago at this point, but at least a couple weeks ago. Outside of that, I've been silent on the main channel for a while, and that is going to change. Obviously, I put up that one video, but that was meant to be more of a stopgap video that I just made for the heck of it. But I teased at the end of that video that I had a big project coming, and I do. And today I want to officially announce it. I've talked about this on streams before, but I've never talked about it in an official video here on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you exactly what the project is. And I call it a project because it is going to be a big video. The biggest video I've done so far. Like, not counting, like the biggest real video I've done so far, not counting the Nin-Cast or any of that stuff. But in terms of proper main channel type stuff, this will be the biggest video so far, no question. And that video, the upcoming video I'm working on, is basically going to be, for lack of a better term, me going through every single Smash Bros. Fighter and giving my thoughts on every single one. It's not going to be a ranking video necessarily, but it's mainly going to be me just going through all 89 of them, every single Smash character from 64 to Ultimate, giving my thoughts on them. The original plan was to have the videos split up into individual videos. Like the original plan, and why I called this a project and not just one video, is because the original plan was to have it separated by games. Like, we talk about the 64 characters in the first video. Then we talk about the Melee characters in the second video. Then we talk about Brawl, then 3DS and Wii U, then Ultimate. And so there'd be 5 videos. And in each of those videos, we talk about, the new characters for that game in each of those videos. But then as time went on, I decided, you know what? I think it'd be better if we just have it be one big, long video that's like 30 plus minutes. I thought that maybe that'd be a better idea. And then now I'm starting to wonder if I want to separate them again. So it's kind of a back and forth. But as of right now, November 20th, 2021, right now, it's going to be a big, long video. And the plan, I want to make this crystal clear. At this stage in the game, I do not think this is going to happen. But the plan is I want the video up on December 7th. Which, of course, is a very notable day because December 7th will mark Smash Ultimate's 3rd anniversary. So I think it'd be really cool to have the big, going through every single Smash character ever. Having that video go up on the same day I think would be really cool. That's the plan, but I cannot guarantee you that that's going to be what happens. But basically, here is what I have right now. Right now, I'm currently working on the script, and for those of you who don't know, when I say script, I don't mean some big, complex whatever. By script, I mean opening Word, typing out what I'm gonna say, and then reading off the Word document while I'm recording. It's really not that fancy, but it's technically the script, so I'm gonna call it that. So, I'm currently working on that. I have all the 64 characters done. I have a decent amount of the Ultimate characters done. I have a decent amount of the Melee characters done, but it's not all done yet. I'm not done, with the script, and therefore I'm not done with recording the audio. But once I get all the audio recorded, putting together the video will not take that long. It'll take a couple days, but it won't take that long. The main holdup for these main channel videos for me is mainly just recording the audio. That's the big holdup, because I'll keep re-recording it because, oh, this part doesn't sound quite right, so I'll keep recording it over and over and over and over and over again, and then I'll get to the point where I'm just tired and done with it, and I just say, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. But once I get all the audio done and in the timeline, then we can go from there, because then at that point, it's just, adding the music, adding transitions, adding all that stuff. Recording the audio is the biggest holdup with a main channel video for me, but once I get that done, it'll be smooth sailing. So, here's the plan as of right now. Again, one big long video is the current plan, coming out on December 7th. But if I eventually reach the point where it's obvious that that's not going to be happening anymore because I won't have enough time or whatever reasons, here's the backup plan. If I can't get a big long video out on December 7th, the backup plan will be to resurrect the having them be their own videos type thing per game, except this time we'll have it start on December 7th and have it end at the end of the month, and we'll have December be like a kind of Smash month. You know how like YouTube channels will have like Zelda month, Mario month, Halo month, like a month for whatever franchise, whatever they care about. Like, we'll do that, but for Smash, we'll have the 64 characters video come out on December 7th, and then we'll keep uploading them, every week or whatever until the end of the month, and we'll have it be like a Smash month for the channel. That's the backup plan if I can't get the big long version of the video out on December 7th. But what I can say for certain is that I am doing this video. I've worked on it enough that it is not going to get scrapped. This is not going to get scrapped. I can say that definitively right now. This video, in one shape, way, or form, will be out by the end of the year. And I want to be the big kind of finale for 2021 for the channel. So yeah, that is basically the upcoming project, is every Smash character. That's basically the upcoming project. Right now, it's going to be one big long video, but I might split it up into 5 separate videos for December if that's just what has to happen for it to come out that year, because I do not want to delay it to 2022. I want this to be the last big video I do for 2021, and it's going to be that way one way or another. So that's all I really gotta say. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. But yeah, so that's what I gotta say for this episode. So yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, Nintendo and Panda teaming up, and my upcoming video project. So yeah, those are all definitely things to look forward to in and of themselves. And yeah, this is probably going to be I'm going to be doing at least 2 more episodes of the Nin-Cast, because of course we're nearing the end of the year now. We're in the second half of November, so the end of the year is fast approaching. So that means this season 5, is going to be coming to a close relatively soon, all things considered. But I have at least 2 more videos planned for the Nin-Cast this year. I might do a couple more, but at least right now I have 2 guaranteed. One for No Way Home when it comes out, and then one for Hawkeye when it finishes in December. I'll be doing videos on those 2 things, and then maybe I'll do one big, like, 2021, just kind of retrospective at the very end, like on December 31st or something like I did last year. But basically, there's only going to be a couple more episodes left. Actually, no. Let me take that back. There's one. This will probably be the next episode I do. So, of course, No Way Home comes out on, like, the 17th or the 18th. And then Hawkeye's going to be finishing a couple of days after that. Because I'm not going to talk about Hawkeye per episode. Like all the other MCU shows, I'm going to talk about it all at once. I'm going to wait until the show is done, then talk about it. But actually, no, the next episode of the Nin-Cast is going to be me talking about the Game Awards. Because, of course, the Game Awards is coming, I think, on December 7th. It happens around the same time every year. So, of course, I'll be talking about my, hopes and predictions for what we could see there. Of course, Smash is done now, so that might not be there. But there's plenty of other things they could totally show there that, of course, we'd all like to see. So, be on the lookout for that. Not going to promise any time, but obviously, I'll probably do it in early December. Like, probably a week before the Game Awards or something like that. But yeah, the next episode of the Nin-Cast will be me kind of talking about my predictions for the Game Awards, similar to what I've done for the last 2 years, so be on the lookout for that. And with that being said, this is Logan59XP, and I will see you guys next time.